Get me that signal. We need more power.
Alright, we're all set up to play a game of Battle of the Five Armies. We're going to go through a turn so that you can see how this works and maybe see how some opening strategies can go. I'll try to give you some strategic tips, but you know what? It's not like I win all the time, which I don't. But I'll do what I can to help you out, because that's the kind of guy I am. I'm a helpful guy. Alright, always I go back to the game turn. So, to start the game, the players recover their action dice and they draw cards. So it's the first turn of the game. The free people get 5 action dice to start. That's just how it is. They're going to take their 5 action dice. The shadow gets 6 to start. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to pick up their 6 action dice and put it by them. They're ready to go. What's next on the list? Each player draws 2 cards, one from the event deck and one from his story deck. So, these big cards here, this is the event deck. Alright? So the shadow is going to draw 2 cards, one from there and one from his story deck. Here's an example. Place 2 orcs and 2 leadership tokens in one shadow army in a Broken Lands region. Then you may move or attack with that enemy. That's a kind of a handy card to have. And this shows you what die symbol I would need in order to play this particular card. If I look on the back here, that would mean I would need a army die symbol in order to play this card, or an event symbol, because an event symbol allows you to play a card of any type. Then the free peoples draw their cards. Elven Charge. Move 1 Free People's army containing elves. Then you may attack with that army. For the duration of the combat, the leadership of that army is considered to be 5. This is a good card to hold on to. I hate drawing it this early. This is going to take a couple of turns to get it to be useful. Right now there's only 3 elves on the whole board. But that's what I have. And then I also get an event card. The event card comes in 2 pieces. One part you can use as an event, and one part you can use during combat. Mustering for battle. Choose up to 3 different regions and flip 1 friendly recruitment token in each of them. Alright, the ones that help you flip tokens or place tokens, especially for the free people, are good. During a battle, I could instead use this card to add 1 die. Add 1 to every dice on my combat roll. That could also come in very handy. Next part of the turn is the General's Activation. Now this is where there are several generals on the board. The free people start with the Bard, Dane Ironfoot, Gandalf, and Thranduil. Out of those 4, he gets to activate up to 3 of them. And this is a big decision. A lot of people will say, don't activate everybody early in the game because you want the shadow person to be stuck with whatever token he draws first. So we're going to try that strategy right now and see how it works. So we're only going to take 1 General's Fate token, and I'm going to put it on Gandalf. A lot of people would, all the other generals allow you to use, to add recruitment tokens or flip a recruitment token. But, you know, we'll just see how it goes. I'm going to add it to Gandalf because I want to start his magic ability early. Gandalf will get to make a blast of magic that might come in very handy. And if he gets activated twice, he could do a super blast. And that would really come in handy. So there we go. He puts 1 token on that activation token on the Gandalf card. That means I also only get to take 1 token, 1 leadership token as the free people. If I had placed all 3, I'd get 3 leadership tokens. This token will allow me to make to re-roll 1 of my dice when I'm in combat. I'm going to place this leadership token over here in the Ruins of Dale, because that's usually one of the first places the shadow will go for. Over here you've got these 2 archer guys, Lakemen, protecting this ford, which is the only place that the shadow can cross over right here, unless they go to the bottom of the board or up here. So they're either going to get together and head over to the eastern spur, or they're going to head through here and go to the Ruins of Dale. They have extra incentive to go to the Ruins of Dale because when Bolg comes in, he's their Shadow's only character, he gets these bodyguard tokens. And you can bring him in if at least one region in the valley contains a Shadow army. So once I get an army in here, Bolg can actually come into the game. The problem is, if you manage to get him killed, you lose. The Shadow loses. The game's over. But you can bring him into the game, and he has a leadership value of 3, which is very helpful. Also, a couple of other things happen. The recruitment tokens flip. He gets a bodyguard. So if you bring him in at that point, he gets 1 bodyguard token on his card. And what that will do will cancel 1 complete round of damage on the army that he is part of. But if you bring him in when you control the Ruins of Dale, he gets 3 of those tokens. And that can really, really make a difference. So the Shadow player's already going to be thinking about those Ruins of Dale when the game starts. So we have activated we've placed our leadership tokens, and we put our generals where they need to be. So they're activated. Next comes the Fate track. So we pull out our handy dandy Hello Kitty cup, which has all the Fate tokens in it. The Shadow player reaches in, and he's stuck with whatever he pulls because the free people only placed the 1 token, so he's got to take whatever this is. Pow! And look at that, it's a 1. He laughs, ha 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 ha, and moves the little Fate token from 0 to 1. This comes out permanently for the rest of the game. And now, of course, there's 1 less 1 token in the Hello Kitty box. That was a big help to the Shadow player on the first turn. I mean, they didn't even get to Bilbo, because that was a sacrifice on the free people's part, only putting that 1 token out. And once that is done, the other thing about those tokens is some of them have this little Fate symbol on them. If I can find one like this. And if it has that Fate symbol on there, that means once they move along the Fate track, the free people has to draw a card from the Fate deck. And it's this little tiny deck of cards that allows really one good thing to happen. For example, the Eagles are coming. To place 2 Eagles in the Eagles Eerie box. That's way up there in the corner. Here are the Eagles. The more of these you get in their box later in the game, you're going to be able to fly these suckers all over the place and attack various armies. You can only use 1 eagle to attack 1 army, but there is a card that will allow you to use all your eagles on 1 army as long as they're in the mountains. And that can... I made the mistake of being in the mountains when that card came out as using Bolg. I was in the Eastern Spur, and they just bombarded me and bombarded me and bombarded, and Bolg got killed, and I lost the game. And so then I learned never put Bolg in the mountains, especially if that Fate card comes out. Important safety tip. He gone. So those are those Fate cards. Now the Shadow player, he has 6 dice to start. So what he can do is he's got up to 6 bats, right? And these bats, basically what they're going to do is they have 2 uses. They have a bat cloud. You use a muster die result and remove 1 great bat from a territory to choose a friendly army in the same territory and move it. So it'll allow you to move an army. And during combat, you can use the vampire-like maneuver card, which allows you to basically add an extra point of damage to the army that you're attacking if you have a bat token in their territory. The board is in 4 different territories. We've got the Broken Lands over here. We've got the Valley. And I'm going to have to look the other 2 up. because it is right in the book. We've also got the Eastern Bank up here, and the Southern Spur down through here. So if you got a bat in one of those territories, then you'll be able to use that special ability card. And you just remove the bat from the board, he has 1 point of damage, and then you go on with your day. So the decision you're making at the beginning of your turn is how many of these bats to put out. Well, let's see, the Shadow guy decides to put one over here, and one over here, because, well, he hasn't made up his mind yet. He's going to go this way towards the Eastern Spur and try to make a stab through there, or is he going to go into the Ruins of Dale? Now, why does he only place 2 and not all 6 of them? Because for each one that he doesn't place, he gets to place a leadership token onto one of his armies. So, up to a total of how many dice he has. So he's got 6 dice to start, so he's placed 2 of those. That means he gets to put out 4 leadership tokens. And we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. There, each one of those, they have to be different armies. They're all up there in the corner. Each army can consist of 5 figures, not including characters or bats or eagles. So your little character dudes, those don't count. However, each figure, either red or blue, does count, and there's a max of 5. It's very important because you only get to roll a total of 5 dice when you're actually attacking. So now, the Shadow has done that. They've placed their leadership tokens and bats, which is step 4. And now we go into the action round, step 5. What happens here is they each roll their dice. Now, what I would do when I was playing is I would just set the dice onto my little player board so I knew what each one was. We've got 1, 2, 3 mustering, 4 mustering, and 1 character. All right, well, that should be interesting. And with the Shadow, we're going to roll theirs. You've got event, mustering, the lidless eye, which allows you to have goblins, a character, and an army. Starting with the free peoples, they get to do one of their dice first. So, since they have mostly mustering, let's start with that. Let's get some more troops out here on the board. So we're going to use 1 mustering die. This will allow them to one of these actions. So they're going to choose up to 2 different regions on the game board and flip 1 recruitment token in each of them to recruit new units. Well, let's go for the Ruins of Dale. I flip that over. That means I get a new Lake Man. This token comes out and gets discarded. It won't be back. It won't be used again in this game. And since maybe I should be worried about the Eastern Spur, I'm going to flip the one up there as well. And that one contains a Veteran Dwarf. Veteran Dwarves are nice. I'll put him up there. And that was using 1 of the dice for the free people. Okay, now the Shadow gets to make their first move. They could really use some more troops, and they do have 2 mustering dice. So they're also going to use one of their mustering dice to flip over 2 tokens. They don't want to just have 3 in an army, because I'm going to need those dudes. So I can flip up to 1 per area, and I get to flip 2. So right here, oh look, another ward. That's convenient. And let's go with, there's already 4 guys up here, I'll just flip 1 more. Oh, and it's a little teeny orc. So we'll grab another little teeny orc. Boop. So there we go. The Shadow's done their first one. Back to the free people. They get to do another die. Let's look at their card. Do they have any character cards? No, they don't. So it's not going to help them at all. Let's go back to mustering again. Can I do more mustering? Yes, I can. I will flip one over here and get a spearman in Ravenhill. And let's get somebody in Fallen Bridge. Okay. An elvish archer. Those come out. One thing I've already forgotten to do is to use my Gandalf activation. I get to do that before an action. And if you've got 3 activated, you need to do that early in your turn. Because if you forget, well, then you're in trouble. Especially if somebody's a real big stickler for the rules. And I am! So I'm not going to allow myself. The shadow me is saying, oh no, you didn't activate Gandalf yet. You got to wait till your next die. What? Forget you, man. So we're going back to the shadow player. He is going to muster yet again. So he's going to go back here and flip up another one. Oh, there's 2 orcs in that one. Now, since these are mustering regions, there's no limit of 5 there. But when they leave, they can only leave in groups of 5. All right, so I get to flip one more. I'm going to go over here to this army that's got all kinds of different dudes in it. And that's another warg. So there we go. We've got 4 guys, including... Now these guys are tough because they have an attack strength of 2. These great orcs. So they're pretty great. You know what I'm saying? So, that's their next die. We go back to the free people. What else can we do with all these mustering dice? Well, we can play this mustering card that says choose up to 3 different regions and flip one filling recruitment token in them, but I don't have any more tokens. Bad day for... Well, maybe it's a great day. Who knows? Okay, I'm going to use a 3rd one to flip over 2 more tokens, which I think is all I have left on the board. Put him there. And let's flip over this dwarfy guy. Okay, we got a regular dwarf right here. And that comes out. And now I have run out of recruitment tokens that I can use. Oh, and I forgot to activate Gandalf again. Darn it! That shadow guy is such a stickler, too. Next. We have a few other things that the shadow can do. He's got an army die. He's got move 2 of your armies, each to an adjacent region. Alright, that's what we're going to do. We're going to use this army result. And we're going to move our first army here with 5 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 little orc. Plus their leadership token. Over to the next area. I'm also going to move this one with the great orc in it. I should have probably activated them first before, but what the heck. So I moved them over 1 region. So now they have moved. Next turn, we go to the free peoples. This time he's going to remember to activate Gandalf's special power. By activating it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this concentration token that Gandalf can get and put him on his dude, which means when I finally use his magic blast, he will get super powered magic blast. Yes. And now I only have 2 dice left. I got this mustard die, which I really can't do anything with. So I'm just going to put that on the side and be sad. Be very, very sad for a while. Alright. Back to the shadow. They've got this character die. They're going to play this card. Choose up to 2 friendly armies with leadership and move them up to 2 regions. So there we go. These guys are going here. And these guys going here. Now, I didn't take full advantage of what I could have done here, which is, maybe I shouldn't have played that card. I should have just done something else, because I could have just moved and attacked these guys who were standing right here across this ford and probably wiped them out on this turn, but I didn't do that. Why didn't I do that? Well, because I was too busy thinking about filming this dumb video. Darn it! Darn it! So there you go. See, I've made a little mistake and it might cost me in the end. But that's what happens. Okay, so that die is gone. We go back over to the Free Peoples. They have just this character die left. What can they do with that character die? They could attack right here if they wanted. They could play a card with a character symbol. They can move one of their armies with leadership up to 2 regions. I didn't put leadership here, so I couldn't move them. Leadership's only here, and I don't want to move them out. I want to keep the Ruins of Dale. So what I'm going to do is actually move a character. So you can use this to do character movement, and each card tells you how far your characters can move. Like Gandalf here can move 2 spaces on his turn. So I'm going to move Gandalf over this way. 1, 2. And now he's getting closer to being in range. If the Ruins of Dale get attacked, he can go kapow! Right? Send his blasto magic going that way. Free People are now out of dice for the turn. They could have said, oh, we'll pass, and let the Shadow go, because the Shadow still has 2 dice left. But they didn't do that. So they just went ahead and did it. They never even thought about it, I'm sure. So what are we going to do? We can do the Lidless Eye, which will be easy. This allows me to take a goblin and put it in each box. So now there's 3 there and 2 there. Once they hit 5, they'll be able to break out of there and come down and swarm across the lands. And that takes care of the Lidless Eye. And they have this last one, which is the event one. They can either draw cards or play a card. The only card they have is place 2 orcs and 2 leadership tokens in 1 shadow army in a Broken Lands region. Then they may move or attack with that army. That's any Broken Lands region. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. So, I'm going to place 2 orcs way down here and 2 leadership tokens in 1 shadow army in a Broken Land region. Then I may move or attack. So, I move them that way. Was that smart? I don't know. But they get to come up through the bottom here and be sneaky, which should make some interesting moves next turn. Now there we go. That was a whole turn. At the end of the turn, what you do is they check victory conditions, remove all the leadership tokens, the eagles, and the great bats. So there's no eagles. The great bats come off. So they can be ready for next turn. All leadership tokens come off because they get reassigned every turn. So those come out. They didn't do nothing for me. That comes out. And then we go back to the beginning and we play a new turn. And that is 1 complete turn. I realized you didn't get to see combat. I'll shoot a quick combat video too, just so you can see how that works. There's your first turn of a game of Battle of the 5 Armies.
Get me that signal. We need more power.